Very good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon, Excellency, and all the speakers, and all the guests. Last Sunday, we celebrated the Feast of Pentecost. On this Feast of Pentecost, we are asked to proclaim the good news to all creation. What is this good news? The good news basically is the divine mercy of God. That this God loves us. This God has for us. That this God has forgiven us and have restored our dignity as sons and daughters of God. And therefore, to proclaim the good news to all creation really is to manifest and to mediate the mercy of God to every human person. This proclamation of good news is carried out both in words and in deeds. But words alone cannot change lives. The deeds must be concrete manifestation of the words that we proclaim. For this reason, the social arm of the church, the social mission of the church is indispensable. We cannot proclaim the good news, just sharing doctrines and beautiful words from the scripture without at the same time helping people to concretely experience God's mercy and love. It is for this reason that the church is concerned, as Gaudium et Spes tells us, for the promotion of human life. The promotion of human life is integral to the mission of the church. As church, our real concern is how to help every person to live an authentic human life that is full, that is complete. That's why the church in the modern world also reminds us that the church is concerned with human development, not so much with wealth and technology. Economy and technology, they are means, they are not the ends. If science and technology and wealth, they do not help our people to live more integrated life and to recover their dignity as sons and daughters of God, then we would have failed. What is important is that every human person recover his image as created in the likeness and image of God. So from this perspective, I must really say, Singaporeans are doing well. We are responding well to the call of Pentecost to bring the good news to all creation, so that one day this vision of Christ will be fulfilled. There will be one humanity, everyone living in unity, in love. And every human person comes to consciousness that he is a child, a daughter of God, invited not only to have a full human life, but to share the light of God. And then we'll be truly one human family, and this family is a family of God that acknowledges God as their common Father. So, many of you Catholics, you are well known for your generosity. And I tell you, and this is true, Singaporeans and Singaporean Catholics are known for their generosity, especially to the poor. Sometimes you watch these programs on TV, those fundraising programs, people, they give. In fact, sometimes, Your Excellency, Bishop DK, you know, I feel that our people are more generous to the poor than to the Archdiocese. The Archdiocese is going bankrupt. We are in deficit. And the people will give to the poor, not to the Archdiocese. But I'm not envious. Because why? At least I can tell the Holy Father the church in Singapore is poor. You know, my dear brothers and sisters, although it is certainly great to give to the poor, this is insufficient. That is why today we want to challenge you to go and move to another level. And this is to be personally involved in the service of the poor. Why must you be personally involved in the service of the poor? Whether within or whether outside the country. For whose sake? Primarily, not for the sake of the poor. Primarily, for your sake. Why do I say this? Let me explain. What we do not see, we are not touched. What we do not see, we are not moved. That is the fact of life. We are only touched by what we see with our own eyes. That is why there is this beautiful song that we sing every time during season of Lent. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there? Why is it that people are not changing their life? Catholics included, of course. Because they were not there. They didn't see how Jesus suffered, so they are not moved. If you were there, you would be moved. If you were there at the tsunami in Thailand, earthquake in Japan, you will be moved. If you were a cancer patient before, you will be moved. Otherwise, you will not be moved. That's why Pope Francis tells us we have to go out to the street. He wants a church that is bruised, hurting, dirty. Because if we stay within the church, in our comfort zone, then we never know the sufferings of the poor. Moving out, therefore, is the way by which we become personally in contact with the poor. This is the basis for actually real commitment to humanitarian works. Otherwise, giving money, yes, is good, definitely. Giving money doesn't involve your personal conviction. It doesn't change your heart. In fact, many people give out of guilt. Because I'm having a big lobster here, big steak, some wagyu, big steak. And the fella got nothing to eat. How can I eat properly? You cannot. It's just that when you're eating at home, your little dog comes up. Even it's a nice steak that costs you $50, you see the dog asking, okay, I give you some. Out of guilt. Not because you want to. If that is the case, lives are not changed. It is for this reason. It's good for you to understand. That's why Jesus identified himself with the poor. The passage from the Last Judgment, Matthew 25, we are familiar with that. Whatsoever the least of my brothers and sisters, least you do it unto me. Jesus identified with the poor. He became man so that God can be identified with the poor. Otherwise, God can save us without incarnation. Technically speaking, God became poor in Christ Jesus. Not only identified with the poor, he became poor. In his incarnation, he emptied himself of his divinity. In his passion at the Garden of Gethsemane, when he was on the cross, he knew what it was to be abandoned. He knew what it meant to go through anguish, betrayers. Jesus went about reaching out to the sick, the poor, the elderly. When I reflected, I received a new insight. We know that in the gospel, what motivated Jesus in his ministry was because of the Father's unconditional love. This is fundamental. Because he experienced the mercy of the Father and his love, and therefore he reaches out. And this is true for all of us. You cannot reach out to the poor, to those suffering abroad, if you have not been touched by God's mercy for you. As I've always said, the basic axiom of life, you cannot give what you have not got. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, I realized there is another motivation. Not just the experience of the Father's love. That was not the only reason. It was the primary reason, not the only reason. I realized that Jesus was passionate in his mission because he came into contact with the poor, with the suffering. He began to feel with them, for them, because he was one of them. He knew what it was to be poor, what it meant to be hungry, what it meant to be sick, to be a leper. My dear brothers and sisters, what is the root of the word compassion? Isn't it true that word is a compound of common passion? If you don't have the same passion, that means the same suffering, with people around you, how can you have compassion? So, compassion is the foundation for identification, and therefore for service. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, in the light of what I have said, therefore, to reach out to the poor, necessary we become like the poor. That is the reason why the church have these beautiful ideals that priests are called to observe, or at least take the vow, or at least observe the spirit of poverty. Because if a priest does not enter into poverty, and the religious, and for the rest of you too, how can you ever feel with the poor? If a priest is having a good life, everything is provided for, his theories of people's suffering remains theory. He is not moved from the heart. He is moved perhaps by doctrines, by theology. That's why poverty is so important. A man must experience poverty to understand poverty. My dear brothers and sisters, so the next question is this: who are the poor? Who are the poor? Of course, the poor, in the first place, we speak of the materially poor. This we know. The church has this preferential option for the poor. Those who are hungry, those who are thirsty, those who are sick, those who are deprived. That is very important for the church. Preferential option for the poor. When we speak about the poor, we also speak of those who are suffering violations of human rights. When the dignity of the human person is not respected, whether it's killing, whether it's human trafficking, whether it's oppression of women, children, labor, and so on. This is clear. I think that those suffering from disasters in war-torn countries, disastrous area, this is the first category of the poor. But I think most of you don't belong to that category here. I think so. That's why we could sit here comfortably. There is a second kind of poor. This is what Mother Teresa keeps reminding us. It's the new poor. Who are the new poor? The new poor are those who are lonely, those who are abandoned. The new poor are those whose marriages are failing. The new poor are those who are homebound day and night, all alone, because children are busy. Everybody is out at work. They are alone, facing the four walls every day. Who are the poor? The new poor are those who are suffering from depression, addiction. These are the new poor. And this is getting worse, especially in Singapore. That's the reason why if you retire, you shall never stay at home. You will die, you will rot. Even if you retire, you have to beg us, please give me some work to do, or else I will go crazy. That is true. Nobody wants to stay at home because you have only four walls. Even your house is beautiful, there will be four walls. There is no such thing as retirement from involvement, from work. That's why the greatest fear at the end of the day is when you cannot walk anymore. You're no longer mobile. But my dear brothers and sisters, this is where it is important. And the question for me you need to ask is this. Those of you who are well off, you know what's the great danger? The great danger is, if you are well off, your contact with the poor is very limited. Even for me as a bishop, honestly, if I don't go to the homes, if I don't do conversion experience retreat, I will never hear the real stories of people struggling, what they're going through in life. I'll be sitting in my office, having beautiful dreams, building my own castles, but not in touch with people's life. That's why people say, get out of your seat, go out of your office. You can't be staying in your office and reflecting and theologizing. It doesn't work that way. And my dear brothers and sisters, this is where those of you who live in those districts, I think it's the 13th district is the richest district in Singapore. I don't know what they say, 13th or whatever, 9 or what, 9th, If you live in that kind of area, how often do you meet the poor? And those of you who are isolated from the poor, eventually you lose touch of your own inner poverty. That for me is the real danger. Remember the story of Gautama Buddha? His parents wanted to shield him from the sufferings of the poor. He was kept in the palace like a prisoner, so that he wouldn't see the poor and the suffering. One day, like all bad children, they sneak out of the palace, and he saw the reality. That was his conversion experience. That is why sometimes Singaporeans, unimaginable, Some Singaporeans even shield their children from getting into contact with the poor. Don't go to the nursing home, don't go to this, they got all these kind of germs and so on, don't touch them. By shielding our children from the reality of life, they fail to get in touch with their inner poverty of who they really are. That's why sometimes, not all the rich people, because there are many of you here very rich and very good. Afterwards, you might throw stones at me. Not all. Those who are rich, the tendency is that we are so absorbed in our own life. And the most we give is charity. We give money. But we are not there. We are too busy. As Pope Francis says, too busy. But there is no excuse. Because if you don't, you will lose out eventually. And the beautiful thing, my dear brothers and sisters, is this. About those who are materially poor, the irony is that they are spiritually rich. We are rich in money, but poor in love. Mother Teresa says there is a famine of the heart. Most of us here, what do we lack? Understanding, love. We are not even capable of love. Many of us live lonely lives. That's why Mother Teresa says, it's easier to feed the poor than to satisfy the rich. Poor, you give them food, they are happy. The rich, impossible to please. Because the real vacuum is in the heart. The real vacuum is spiritual hunger. Because they have no meaning in life, no purpose in life. They don't know what they are living for. It's just make money, enjoy. It's about me. Afraid to take risks. Afraid to dirty their hands. And so they never know the joy of love. The joy of reaching out. That's why the poor have much to teach us. So don't think that you are evangelizing the poor. It's the poor that evangelizes us. That's why none of us, when we help the poor, should have a condescending attitude. Thinking that, wow, we are so good, huh? I never know I'm so generous. Goodness me. When you have that kind of attitude, it means to say you're not conscious of your own poverty. The poor teach us simplicity of life. Really. We don't need so many things in life to be happy, honestly. Do you know why there are so many social problems in the world? Especially in affluent society, because people are bored. They don't know what to do. So hand itchy, everything itchy, look for trouble. Nobody got nothing to do, you look for trouble. Because they have nothing higher in life. If they have no trouble, they create trouble. That's why sometimes people stay at home, and those who are retired, they create a lot of trouble. So better, if you're retired, if you don't want your children to hate you, get out. Do something. Or else you'll be staying at home lamenting, complaining, why my children don't love me? Where are they? Why I'm all alone? Why come they never bring me out for dinner? All these questions we ask. Why? Because we are absorbed in ourselves. When you are absorbed in yourself, you cannot see the poor. You cannot see the love of God. And the poor actually reveals to us the love of God, the mercy of God. You know, sometimes when you have the poor, you see the joy in their faces. And you know that God is real. It's only when you begin to reach out, then you understand. The poor teach us to be grateful. Grateful for what we have. So that you never complain again. Hey, there was this man. He sent his son for a mission trip, probably to Cambodia. He was a rich man. And he said, I better teach my son a lesson. Send him for a mission trip. So after the mission trip, the father says, so, how was your mission trip? What do you learn? So he was expecting his son to say, "Wow, Father, I'm so grateful." He said, "Father, I think life is not fair." So the father was expecting something, no? That the son has learned gratitude. No, he says, "Father, it's not fair. Because when I went to Cambodia, I look at our house with a small little garden. In Cambodia, they have a big garden. It's all theirs. In our house, we have a little swimming pool. In Cambodia, everywhere can play. This is life is not fair. In here, we have only 2 friends, I and the maid, domestic helper. Why in Cambodia, they have many friends?" And the father heard that, his jaws dropped. My dear brothers and sisters, that is my point. The poor evangelizing us, helping us. That's why we should be grateful. That's why I say to help the poor, to be person involved, is for whose sake? For your sake. For my sake, not for their sake. Because we can employ people to help them actually. But why do we get involved? So that we can feel with them, experience the love of God from them. And now I conclude. The last question. So, what do we do? Mother Teresa was giving an address to people like us, And after the address, the people said, "So should we immediately book an airplane ticket and go to help the poor in all these other countries?" Mother Teresa said, "Please, don't do that." Who are the poor? The poor is the person sitting next to you. These are the real poor. Because we don't tell each other. But actually, if you were to really discuss the problems you have, you are the really poor one. Your marriage is breaking down. You are lonely. You are not loved. You are not understood. Mother Teresa, the first poor are those besides you. Pope Francis said the same thing. He says, after speaking about this, it doesn't mean to say we quickly run out and evangelize aimlessly. No, we need certainly be eager, but we need to be focused. Focus where we are, people around us. Of course, that is not enough. Love, as we have seen, must go beyond. But it begins first outside our home. Within our home, look out. Those of you who are called, those of you who wants to make time and should make time, surely you can sacrifice a few days a year, go for short mission trips. It will do you great good. For those of you who are retired, KLKK, don't know what to do, go for longer mission trips. It helps you. And I told you, because you will encounter the love of God, when you reach out in service to others, you'll be blessed many more times. That is why when people go out for mission trip, when they come back, they see life very differently. One final word is this. At the end of the day, I want to remind you all again, because this is what Pope Francis also said. The work of evangelization at the end of the day is the initiative of God. It's the work of God. It is not the work of man. So don't take this into your own hands as if you can change the world, as if you are responsible, because otherwise you get frustrated, you get disillusioned, you become judgmental, and you say to yourself, I'm so good helping everybody, and I call this fellow to help, he doesn't want to help. That is not the way to proceed. You become more angrier. It doesn't help. Rather, the initiative is always the love of God. God has loved us, He has become one of us. So what we should do? We should work, cooperate with His grace, we must pray, we must trust the Lord. And the Lord will choose people, inspire people to work wonders. And they too will respond to His love and mercy. Thank you.